All right, so what I'm going to talk about today is the new WTIU, which is the same as the previous TIUs with a few exceptions. The new TIU has, you can, the two variable channels, which are the outer channels, you can, it'll do DC output. So you can run G gauge trains, HO trains, S gauge trains, anything, and you can pass through DCC. Before you weren't able to put DCC through here because it would have burned up the channels because the sine wave is being manipulated so heavily. So other than that, the TIU from the apps, from your app, either Android or from Apple, you'll be able to automatically upgrade these. So anytime there's a new software upgrade, you won't have to hook it to the computer and do that. You just go to the app and say upgrade, and it'll upgrade off of the internet connection that if you're connected to your home network, you'll need to connect to your home network. So other than those two things, this TIU is pretty much the same as the previous TIU. Also, the other feature of this, it's not ready yet, so don't go try it yet, but the app, the first upgrade of the app will have where you can be playing music out of your phone and simply play it out of the train through the Wi-Fi. So you can have Christmas music coming out. I have my train that way. I have an old TIU still set up on my train layout. We just put it up at Christmas time, and you can play Christmas music out of the train. So that's pretty neat under the Christmas tree. So the TIU, if you don't have one already, the TIU has 4 independent channels, and those channels are each rated at 10 amps. So you can run 4 separate layouts, or the people who have huge layouts can divide their layout, insulate pieces of track, and run 10 amps in each channel so they can double and triple head engines or run multiple trains on the same layout. If they get as big as this layout, you'll be able to do that. But this thing, as far as expandability, has a lot of future expandability. Even in just one TIU, you can have 4 totally separate loops of track, 10 amps on each loop of track. You can daisy chain or run 5 TIUs with the app. So you can change the address in each TIU, and so you can have 5 TIUs that would give you 20 separate 10 amp channels if you have that many transformers and power to do that. This system is very expandable for whatever layouts there are, so that's not a problem. On the ends, like I say, the 4 channels, the 2 outer channels are variable channels. You put in 19 volts, and then you tell it how many volts you want to put out. That's how you run your conventional train. So you can run your 1950s, 1920s, whatever the trains are that you have, you can run it through the app as a remote transformer. And now you can do that with DC or AC. It'll identify when you put the power in. It'll identify the what power it is, AC or DC, and then vary those channels. The 2 inner channels are fixed outputs. So only thing that happens is they put the power in, a digital signal is added, the DCS signal is added to the power. We talked through the zero crossing. If you look at a sine wave, the zero crossing, there's no communication. We insert communication through there, and that's all that happens when it comes out the other side. So you can take the variable channels in the app, and you can convert those variable channels into fixed channels. So you could have 4 fixed channels, but you only get 2 variable channels. So you can run conventional engine on the same track as a command engine. My recommendation is if you got to have a big enough layout so you don't crash the 2, because the conventional engine will just run on voltage. So you take the conventional engine, you set the speed of the conventional engine, and then you go back to the digital engine and you make sure the digital engine doesn't hit the conventional engine, but you can do that. So on the ends of the TIU, the first thing you're going to do when you get this Wi-Fi TIU is download the app. And I don't know how many people here already have the app on their phone. If you don't have the app, you can go onto the Android Play Store or the Apple Store, and you go and you download it, MTH DCS, download the app. It's the free version that will just basically run the basic speed, horn, bell commands. And then when you get this TIU, you're going to want to buy that's how Apple and Google and all those guys make the money, but it's I believe $25, right?
Yeah.
$25, and you get the premier version of the app. Now that app will go across all of the devices you have on that account. So if you have one Android account, you have 3 laptops, and you have your wife's phone, your kids' phones, it's $125 for all those on each account. And that carries over. You get a new phone, you don't have to buy it again. Now, what I would say is anybody who has that app right now, they get the new WTIU. What you're going to find is you're going to need to go to the app settings, and it'll say, hey, you need to buy this thing. So wait a minute, I already have it. Go to the upgrade and hit up in the right-hand corner to refresh the thing, and it will then find, oh, yes, you already bought it and what year you bought it. So do that refresh when you buy the TIU. For some reason, in the app stores, they're asking to refresh that feature. That's nothing to do with our thing. It has to do with Apple or Google to verify that you already have the account with the new upgrade of the app. You will need to upgrade your apps. If you have a little number on there, it says you need to upgrade it. Go ahead and upgrade it because we put out a new version of the app so that it will run the new TIU. You'll do that. When you get the TIUs, now if you're buying them from here, Steve will get the first upgrade. While the things were being manufactured and on the water, which took about a month and a half, 2 months because of that strike, we've updated the app. So there's an app version, a new app version. It's the first thing you get it's going to say you need to upgrade it. Okay? So unless Steve does that for you here, or whoever you're getting it from does it for you, you'll need to take your phone or your tablet or your iPad or whatever and put on the end of the TIU, you'll see there's a home and an MTH. You flip it over to the MTH, and you connect it to there if you haven't connected it to your home network. And I would strongly recommend reading the instructions, because I know men don't read instructions. I don't until I can't get it to work, and then I go back to the instructions. But what you're eventually going to want to do is go to the home, get it on your home network, connect it. You go to the instructions. I could tell you how to do it now, but it's a long conversation. To connect it to your home network, and then that way when you walk into your home, everything you can connect to the TIU, you can still connect to the internet, everything's connected together. If you put it on the MTH network, you're going to have to go into your Wi-Fi settings, find the TIU, you'll see it pop up, you'll connect to that TIU, and then you're running the trains directly to the TIU. When you first get it, you're going to want to connect to the TIU, so now your phone recognizes this powered up, it recognizes this TIU. After you do that, then you're going to take your tablet or your phone and you're going to go back to your home network, the internet, and then you'll go to the upgrade section. There's a more section, an upgrade, and then it'll download the app from the internet to your tablet, and then you go back to the MTH mode, and it'll connect to the box and automatically upgrade. So if they're doing it, it's going to be online. You'll remember that. You'll have to go back and forth. Just remember to go back and forth. Otherwise, you're not going to get the code if you don't go to the internet and get it. So the way, there's a couple ways to connect to your home network, and they'll talk about a WPS button, and that's on the back of your modem at home. Some modems aren't made with WPS, and there's another way to do that. You have to do it manually. But if you have a WPS button, you're going to push this button and push the button on your modem, and then it'll connect. And you got to have this in the home mode, and it'll connect to your home network. On the other end of the TIU, you got a power outlet. You got to power the TIU. It has a transformer comes with it. You'll power the TIU that way. You'll see all the lights light up. There's a USB port on there. For that USB port is for multiple things. One, you can connect it to your computer. You won't need to do that because you'll be able to upgrade from the internet. But the other purpose is for the Lionel TMCC. Those guys right now, you have a Lionel TMCC cable. If your system you're running Lionel engines in command mode, you have the Lionel Legacy system or the TMCC system. Right now, you're able to run. Buy this cable, you plug it into your TIU you have now, and plug it to the Lionel box. And then when you add a Lionel engine, you will be able to run the Lionel command system through this TIU using their box. Their box still sends the signal to the train. All this is doing is acting as this is a computer talking to their box.
Question on you. Can you back up one moment? You said the power. It has a power unit to power that up because you don't have to use, like I have a Z1000. I have the Explorer.
Right.
Can I use the Z1000, or do you suggest using the power unit that comes with it?
I'd use the power unit that comes with it. Use the Z1000 to use the power through here. You can get the Z1000. There's a cable we sell now that it's a barrel jack connector that plugs into here, and you can use that Z1000. That's a big transformer. You don't need that for here. This is like a phone transformer here. A tiny transformer. So you can use it, the Z1000, to power this thing up, but that's kind of a waste of power.
Okay. But you can still run your trains with that power unit right there.
No, not this. This is only powering. You're going to use your Z1000 to go through fixed one, gotcha. and with the banana jack cable and go to your track. So your Z1000 is actually powering the train. This power supply just powers the processor and the unit here.
So you don't have those jacks that come with the set. You have to buy those jacks separate.
You buy those jacks separate. It's a like this.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that goes through that. But the banana jack one, I don't have that sitting here, but he has those, a barrel jack connector, and it has two banana jacks that plug into here for your input. So yeah, you'll power you have to power this with this power supply. So the USB, not only there's going to be a new cable. You're going to keep this cable. You're going to still need this cable that plugs into the Lionel TMCC system. But since this cable has a RS-232 connector, and this one has a USB connector, we have to make a special pigtail connector this will plug into that, and then it'll go into the USB. Also, a lot of people have asked, they don't want to use an app. They don't want to use the tablet. They don't want to use their phones. Still old school. So the only way you're going to be able to use your remote control is you're going to need to get one of these. Now, young people don't even know what this is anymore. But we used to have telephones in our house. I don't see any young people here, so all you guys know what this is. But this is the handset cord, and that's what you need to now use the remote on this new WTIU. So there's the old remotes is an RF system, the radio frequency system. They don't make those chips anymore that we were buying that's in the remote and that was in the receiver for the TIU. They don't make them anymore because no one's using RF. Everything's going to be Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. So now, when you get the new WTIU, the only way you can use your old remote is you're going to need to plug this into the remote, and there's going to be a cable that has a USB pigtail that will plug into the new WTIU. So those are two new cables that they're not out yet. Steve will get them. They'll be out in about a month and a half, and then you'll get those cables, and then you'll be able to still use your remote and also your TIU. If you're using both for the Lionel Legacy and the remote, you'll need to go to Amazon and buy a pigtail. You can buy pigtails for the USB, and you can a splitter cable for 2, 3, 4, whatever you want out of the USB. But that's how those will communicate through the TIU. Now, if you have the old TIUs, I don't know how many people have this box, okay? But this Wi-Fi box is basically what we did is we took the TIU and we incorporated this Wi-Fi box into there. So if you already have your money tied up in the old TIU, then just buy one of these, unless you need the DC, variable DC for G gauge, HO or whatever. You want that feature, you can get that feature. But what I'm trying to tell you is you don't need to buy one of these. If you have an old TIU that's working, you buy one of these. And then you connect this, and it's basically the same thing with the app. Has a home button on the end of it. Home MTH, same thing, WPS button. Everything on this was incorporated in here. So if you have an old TIU, you can get one of these today. They have those here, and then you'll be able to download the app and run the trains with your with your phone or your tablet. I'd recommend, so you're not using your phone all the time, and it's a small remote control versus this. You can buy these, the older versions of the iPad, and I like Apple better, but some people like the Android better. You can buy tablets or iPads on eBay, cheap, $50, and you can have a color screen, touch tone screen at your layout, and this is what you have. The neat thing about the app is anybody that comes to your house, grandkids, neighborhood kids, your friends, everybody's got a phone nowadays, a phone, and you can just say, hey, download the app. Now, they're going to only use the basic. They're not going to pay the $25 just at your house to run a train, but you have 4 different trains running. You can give each person a train to run. They add that engine, and they're playing right then. And these kids, your grandkids will figure that out way quicker than it took you to figure it out. It's like a game to them, and they'll bring it to what they're interested in when they're running trains this way. When you get to the app, you'll see when it'll ask you first run trains. You'll have a button. You can also see our catalog, our website through that. But you hit run trains, and this is the first thing that comes up. And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to add the engine. You put the engine on the track and you power it up. This one already has it added. You see the Monon NW2 switcher, but you're going to touch this, and there's you can see the active engines, which is the Monon, that's been added, and you'll have inactive engines. The inactive engines will be the engines that you've loaded in the past and you have on the shelf that you're not running right now. So basically what this does is go out and say who's on the track, who's out there. And all the engines that are on your layout will pop up as active, and all the ones that are not, that you've added, are inactive. You'll add engines here, and you can build lash-ups here. And I'll get to lash-ups in a minute, but you add an engine, hit add engine, and I can hit add engine, but it'll say add MTH engine, add TMCC legacy engine. And I like to say, if you hit the MTH engine, it'll go out and say who's out there, and the engine will say, I'm out here, because our train is bi-directional. The engines know who they are. They know their numbers. They know all their features in the train. They have an odometer, a chronometer, so it knows how many hours it's run on the track. It knows how many scale miles it has. All that information's in there, and it'll upload all that information in here. It'll say, I'm a diesel engine. I have, whatever the features are, all the custom sounds that are in that engine will come into your app. If you run a TMCC engine, I like to say they're dumb engines. They don't know who they are. You have to tell them who they are. So you're going to hit that, and when you hit the TMCC engine, it'll ask you what the names of the engine is. So you'll name the engine. You have to tell it what address it is. You'll have to tell it if it's a steam engine or a diesel engine. You'll set it all up that way, and then once you do that and you name it, it'll be active or inactive. It'll go out there. It'll know when you hit that engine, oh, I'm a TMCC engine. It just communicates out of the cable, goes to the legacy bot, sends out the signal. So on your engine list, it'll look just another name of an engine, just another address when you do that. So you can run, this is the only system you can run the conventional engines, TMCC, digitally, and the MTH engines. So you pretty much run any model train that's out there. Now that we have DC through here, the only thing this doesn't put out yet is DCC. So you can run past DCC through here, and run through the DCC controller, but everything else you can run, with the app. And the app is so user friendly. I mean, it's very. You can see across here that you got the bell. You got the horn. If it's a steam engine, it'll be a whistle, and you'll be able to pull down the string and play the whistle. You got startup, so you hit the startup, the engine starts up. You can just take the speedometer and move the speed. You can go that way. You can do it 1 mile an hour increments. And these engines are all scale miles per hour. When I say scale miles per hour, a 1/4 inch to the foot guy standing there, and you measure the thing. Each engine knows its wheel diameter, they know its gear ratio, and so the train is actually running at that speed. Let me go back down here. You got your direction, your forward, reverse. then you got additional menu on the bottom. You touch the button, you got your front coupler, rear coupler, headlight, smoke, engine sounds. You can rev up, rev down an engine, the diesel roar. So that what the real engine does, it has a real long train. It's gonna have to they're gonna have to rev it up to get it to move that train. You can rev it up and do that. You got boost and brake, and that's basically momentum on some of the old DC transformers. You hit momentum and it'll speed up, hold the button, and then let go, and it'll slow back down to the speed that you were going, or you can slow it down, drift it, and slow it down. And also the sound will then take over. Let me go back to shut that engine off. You got the sound of the boost and the brake. You got PFA, that's passenger freight announcements. There's four settings, and you hit the passenger station announcement, and then it'll play the one station announcement. Then you hit it again, and another one, and then the train will automatically take off out of the station. A Doppler sound, I call this one-shot Doppler. You hit it, and you'll hear the train. The volume will go away, and then you'll hear it go wow, and then it'll go by you and be the loudest point at one point. But that's not set up. There's a setting later I'll get to where you can set up a loop, and you can make the Doppler sound as if you were standing here and you hear the train coming and going away, and the loudest point will be right where you set it up. So it has that feature in it. Protocast, that's where you're playing the music through the train. You can have Christmas music playing under, have the train going around the Christmas tree and play Christmas music. I do that all the time. Or you can have, songs, or you can have the radio, or you can have whatever you're playing. You can play through the train. So, that's a feature that not everybody uses, but at Christmas time, it's a great feature. Up here, this menu, this is where you're going to find all the different sounds in the train. They got sounds. It's a menu of what's in the train itself. So you got all kinds of forward signal, reverse signal, crossing signal. By the way, every Protosound 2, Protosound 3 train has all these features in it, and always has these features in it. So if you've been running on conventional, you have not been using anywhere near the features that is loaded in these trains. But with this app, you'll be able to extract and play all these things, which is pretty cool. Crossing signals. Everyone has a crossing signal. Coupler slack, coupler close, coupler slack. You set it to that engine. Next time I take it off, you'll hear the clunk of the coupler pulling, only when it takes off. Coupler closed. You got extended startup sounds, extended shutdown sounds. So you can, instead of just with the regular startup, you hit the extended, and the next time it does it, it'll talk about it, the maintenance of it. You got enough water in the steam engine tender? People talking like that for an extended shutdown or startup. Custom sounds, it has 10 different custom sounds. Those custom sounds are sounds that you can get a sound file from. If you recorded a real steam engine whistle and you want to play that whistle rather than the whistle that's in the thing, you can play that whistle whenever you want. Out of it, you can have your wife sing happy birthday to your grandkids, and when the train, because I know you're not going to do it, but when the train comes up, you can hit that custom sound and the train will sing happy birthday to your grandkids. So anything that's recorded, you can think of a lot of things that you can do that way. Halloween sounds, whatever. I've seen a lot of guys go out with scanners, and they go out to the real railroad and you use the scanner and they get the actual cab chatter from their area, and then you can record that and put it in here as a custom sound and play that.
And in the app, you can adjust all the names. So it won't just say Custom Sound 1. There's a soft key, and it is Happy Birthday. You can name it, so you don't have to remember what Custom Sound 1 is. You can name that Happy Birthday. You can name the next one Local Cab Chatter.
Right.
All that. So it's very usable, so you don't have to memorize what 1 through 10 is.
And there's idle sequence sounds. There's train wreck sounds. I always love the train wreck sound, especially when you have a kid there and he's up there and he hit that train wreck sound and it shocks him. But you hear all the crashing and the train wrecking. Down here you got functions. You got an odometer. I can take the odometer and see that this train right here. Wow, he's got 470.46 scale miles on this engine right here that he's been running here. You got he's got 30. This train has seen power on a track 32 hours, 22 minutes, and 49 seconds. This train has seen power. Now, with that, you can there's a maintenance setting in here that you can tell it, okay, every 100 hours, tell me that this train has hit 100 hours, and then you can oil the train, and then you can reset that maintenance so you know each engine, when you take them off the track, when it was oiled last, you can keep track of that. It has a voltage meter in each train has a voltage meter, so I can take and hit this, and this right now has it's seeing 19.94, 20.12. The voltage is and it's changing. So what you can do is, if you want to find out if you have a voltage drop on the layout, you're just building the layout, you can drive this train very slow and see each loop of track and see if the voltage drops, and so that it can detect that for you. It also has a track signal. Where you're measuring when you drive the train around, it's the DCS signal. You get a 1 to 10 rating on each piece of track. Again, it's testing your track to make sure the digitals, it might need cleaned. A lot of times when you're running a lot, you get the oil and the smoke fluid and everything gets on the track, you'll see that track signal dropping. You clean the track and you'll see it pop up. So you can check that track signal anywhere you want. For the old Protosound 2 trains that had batteries in it, has a battery check. You can check the battery on the engine and see if it's a good battery or a bad battery. You can measure the route. So you see how many scale miles your layout is, or you can run trains that evening and see and at the end find out how many scale miles you ran that evening. So all those features are in there. I go to the next, and it's different settings on the engines themselves. So I'm looking here that the Monon engine here is a diesel. You can rename the engine here. It comes with a name in there, but you can name it to whatever you want to name that engine. You can set there's 4 individual sound settings that you can set the sound. The engine volume, that's the engine's roar going around, the horn volume, the bell volume, and the accent volume. And that's pretty neat, because if you got a lot of trains running, you probably don't want to run them all. Right now they come out of the factory at 70%. You might want to lower some down, the diesel roar or the steam engine, lower it down, but you still want a big loud whistle or loud horn. Keep those up at 100%. Bell volume, accent volume, that's your talking sounds for your cab chatter, your station announcements. You get brake sounds, you can turn that on or off. Clickety clack, that's a neat feature that these things have, that you at 30 miles an hour, you're running at 30 miles an hour, the train's running around, and you say have 4 different trains on your layout. Now you got a lot of noise going on, so set a couple of them at clickety clack, and after they're 30 miles an hour or over, then you'll hear the train come by, the dunk, the dunk, the dunk, the dunk. And if it's a passenger train, they'll be serving food in the train, or you'll hear sounds like that under the clickety clack that you'd only hear while it's running that way. So you can set those, and you can turn that off anytime you want. And when you speed up the train, you'll hear the diesel roar again. And then it waits 30 seconds at the same speed, and then the clickety clack will take over again. You can turn your cab chatter on or off if you want. The next one is the Doppler menu. The Doppler, I think the Doppler is one of the neatest things on your layout. If you got a big layout, you can set one train to have the Doppler sound here. People stand around here, so this train is closest to them. Another area might be another loop of track, a siding or something that you have over there, that you set up another one up over there, and another one here, another one there. So when you walk around the layout, you'll hear these trains coming and going, and you can set up a loop. You basically take and say, okay, this is my start point, and it's got to be the same end point. So you drive the train around. I always put a little piece of paper here and said, okay, the front pilot's here. Drive the train around, and that's the beginning. And then when it gets to that end, that's the end. Hit the end. Now your loop's set up, and always at this point is like your 1/4 inch to foot guy, and that train is actual Doppler. It's actual the dB level of the sound coming out of the train, and the distance is the 1/4 inch to a foot scale, and you'll hear that train coming and going depending on the sound volume, how far it starts and how far it goes away, the sound goes away. Coupler slack sound, you can turn that on or off. You can direction lock, acceleration rate, deceleration rate, how fast when you put track power on or you speed it up, it'll take off, so it doesn't take off like a jackrabbit. It'll just slowly, when you turn it up to 40 miles an hour, that you can get the train at the acceleration rate real low, so it just takes a while to get up there. It doesn't go immediately up there. Or same with your deceleration. You can factory reset, engine reset, smoke volume. You can lower the smoke volume, low, medium, or high. So all those are settable features. So that's for your engines. The next thing is the track, and that's where I talked to you about the variable channels. That's your remote control, basically a remote control transformer. So all I'm going to do is take the change the voltage on the track, and this is an emergency track 0 voltage. If you're ready to wreck, you can hit that, and the voltage will turn off on the track. You got to reset it. You got your direction button, your bell, your whistle. You go down here, you got your front coupler, rear coupler, PFA. So the old, Z1000 used to do the bell, and same with the Z4000, bell whistle combinations to get those sounds in conventional mode to get them to work. Now you're running a conventional engine with this, and you just hit PFA, and you're going there. Here you can set the maximum voltage, so that if you have a child running the thing, you don't get 22 volts on your train, because a conventional train at 22 volts will fly off the track. So you can set the maximum voltage that'll come out of the transformer, so they can run that thing up and down all they want, and you say 10 volts, that's all you're getting, and that's all that'll come out of the thing. So anyway, that's your track. Transformer those are going to be for your variable channels, whether it's DC or AC on the new TIU. You go up here to switches and accessories, and that's where a lot of guys who get this system, they get it and they start running their trains. I strongly recommend you get AIUs, because once you get the AIUs, each AIU can do 10 switches and 10 accessory ports. The difference between the switch port, you can open and close, and the accessory you can do momentary or on-off. Momentary button push, like some of the gas station or diner, you push it and then the whole thing activates and goes. The AIUs, you can daisy chain up to 5 AIUs to each TIU. So like I say, they had 10 switches, so now you got 50 switches and 50 different accessories that you can wire up. Now each one of these is 10 amps. So you can run multiple switches and multiple accessories on one port. Just keep in mind, if you have 3 switches on it and you flip the switch to the right, all 3 are going to switch to the right. So switches, you probably want to keep one for each port. Accessories now, all the lights on the layout, the little street lights, you might put street lights and wire them all to one outlet, and then you can take and name it street lights and hit the street lights, and all the street lights come on your thing. What's neat about it is when you have the control like this, right, you can still have your control panel with your switches. You have all the switch controllers on it. Keep that. All you do is run it in series, put it through here, so you can still do the controllers. But I've seen so many layouts that you walk by and you see on the switches 1, 2 number boards, which is not prototypical, but they got numbers because that's the only way they can remember when they hit the switch on the panel which one it is, if they haven't run their layout in a while. So with this, you can name the switches and you can name the accessories. So naming the switch, if I had one here by the movie theater, I call it the movie theater switch. So now I'm looking across the layout and it's the movie theater. I want to switch it quick, hit the movie theater switch, and it goes. But the real neat part about it is you can run in here. We have what is called routes and scenes. Routes are for switches. Scenes are for accessories. And routes and scenes are macros. When I say macros, that you're going to be able to program. For example, I got a circus layout here, and I want 3 of the rides to play at one time. The right rides, or 3 at one point. I can take and say add that to a macro, and I call that the rides scene. And so when I hit the ride scene, these 3 accessories will go on. I might have another one that I program that all the circus goes. So I take each one is wired to a different one, so I can individually turn that roller coaster on, or I can say turn circus on and the whole circuit goes out. And what's neat about it is that if you walk around a big layout like this, and if you got everything going at one time, it's not it's too much going on one time. So Steve could sit there and you start walking around the layout, and then he hits that area when you're sitting there watching it, and it comes alive while you're at that point in the layout. It's not just always going. It's kind of like those push buttons when you go to these museums and you push the button and things happen. People want to see that come alive and turn on. So with those macros, you can do that, because otherwise to turn each one of the push each button or flip each switch, you're either all on or you're all off, or you're working too hard. Then this thing also has, you can do with the engines, you can record and play back. You get 3 15-minute play that you can play with the things, or you can use more time on one, but you get basically 45 minutes in the recording. So I go and I set up a loop and with trains running, station announcements, stopping trains, starting trains, pulling trains into sidings, doing switches, doing accessories, and doing it, doing a whole thing, and then you save it as a setting. And then when your buddies come in, you can have a beer with your buddies, and you don't have to be in there trying to show them all these different things. And you hit that, and the layout does, trains are coming to the stop at the station. You got Dopplers set up. You got everything's all pre-set up and recorded. And so you just hit that recording, and the layout is all animated, and things are doing different things, like the trains are slowing down, speeding up, stopping at stations, doing station announcement, switches are putting trains away. You can do all those things on your own, and then play it later for the guests when they come over. So that's a neat feature. But yeah, the AIU, I would definitely, after you've set up your TIU, you're running trains, then get your switches and your accessories, whether it's Lionel switches, MTH switch, Atlas switch, Raw switch, doesn't matter. All this is a glorified bank of relays that can be controlled by the TIU. So anybody's accessories or switches you can run off this. You can basically take this and you have a step down transformer to your coffee maker, and you can turn your coffee maker on with this. Anything that you can run, it has a 10 amp switch, you can switch with this thing. Okay, so that's where, like I say, your switches and your accessory here, you're going to set them up, you're going to name them, you can switch the direction, call it up by name. Then this is where your route is, and you're going to add, say, I want this switch and this switch and this switch to do the route. So if you have a big layout and you store your trains in the siding, I've seen many layouts where they store all their trains in the middle of the layout. So you got all these trains, and you want to pull the Southern Pacific out, and it takes 4 switches in different combinations to get to the main line. Then you can set that up as a route, and you can say, put away at siding 1 or take out of siding 1, and all the switches will flip, and the train's out on the main line. So it's no more, slow, hit the switch, get it out. You can just say siding 1 out, and start running your daylight and run it right out to the main line. And again, the accessory, same thing. The more, which is the last button here, that's where you're going to do your upgrades. You got advanced features. You can record. That's where you're do your record and playback. You're going to be able to import and export sound files. You go to the internet, or sound files for each engine's on the internet. If you don't like the sound, or the station announcement, or it's a freight announcement, you want a passenger announcement, you can download that sound file. Only thing I would say to you about that, make sure whatever you're uploading and downloading, it's the same wheel. Most of all the diesels are same wheel diameter, but the steam engines have different wheel diameters. So when you bring that sound file in, it also has the gear ratio of that engine and the wheel diameter of that engine. So if you bring a scale sound file with an engine with big wheels into a Rail King engine with small wheels, everything will be off. Speed will be off, chuff will be off, everything will be off. So you really don't want to do that. But diesel to diesel, you can switch those up, and you're not going to have any problems. It's mostly the station announcements and the sounds that are in that train. But you can import and export it. You can recover engines. If you have a engine that loses itself, you can recover the engine through there. There's also pages. This is not connected to the internet, but you can go out and see our catalogs, our videos. You can sign up for the newsletter. We have a parts, throw a thing in here for the parts and sales. We have a parts and sales business now. I'm a third owner in that. The guy who set up the Lionel parts website when he worked for Lionel was Mike Reagan. He is one of my partners in that. We have been going through, we've never had so many parts for sale as we do now, and it keeps increasing on a weekly basis. There's new parts going up on that website. And what's happening is, in the past, when we were building the engines, the parts was, we never had enough staff to just focus on taking the parts out. From when the production run comes, the manufacturer would send us bags of all the leftover parts, and we had them in boxes and boxes and boxes, and at one point we had probably, I don't know, 20,000 square feet of just shelving with boxes of parts and samples and that type of thing. Now we're going through all these parts and taking them out and photographing them and doing exploded views, and so you're going to be able to get parts now that you never were able to get back, 4 years ago. So there's a link to the parts and sales, MTH Parts and Sales. So you can go out there and look for, we're also coming out with a new website, which we should have out in hopefully 2 or 3 weeks, that you'll be able to go onto the item, put your item number in there, and then it'll have a service area, and it'll have parts. You hit the parts or exploded view, and you'll be able to see if we have an exploded view of that engine, and see which part you want and order, and it'll take you right to the parts and sales website, and you'll be able to get the part right there. So you can just put in and same with the parts and sales right now, you can do that, but you'll be able to do it through either website, and much easier to get the rubber tires, the smoke units, the couplers, all that stuff. A lot of it is available, a lot more than, like I said, 4 years ago, and it's continually getting upgraded. So with all that said, if there's any questions, I'll take questions on the system. They have the systems. They also have the Wi-Fi boxes here, and they also have the AIUs here. And like I said, the only 2 things you're waiting for is if you want to hook up the TMCC, you still use your old cable, but there's a new pigtail coming out, which will be out in about a month and a half. So you'll need that, and same with the remote if you're buying the new TIU for the pigtail for that. But other than that, the TIUs are here, ready to run trains. If anybody wants any help putting the app on their phone, they got to know their password. It's amazing how many guys come in here with their phones, and I say, hey, let's put the app on the phone, and it says, okay, what's your Apple ID? I don't know. My wife set it up. I have no idea. I never put an app on my phone.
There you go.
But if you want
to make your face do that,
yeah.
you don't have to worry about that.
So right. So anyway, that's with the new phones.
Yeah.
But anyway, if there's any questions,
Hey, Mike, I'm running yours right now
okay.
with an old TIU
Yep.
with a with Wi-Fi.
Right.
Greatest thing I've ever seen outside.
Outside. Yep.
The question is you think the signal on the new one is going to be a little better than what I have in right now? Then it's 15 years old.
Yeah. The Wi-Fi signal. You're taking the Wi-Fi is the Wi-Fi. I mean, when I say that once you got the Wi-Fi on, their signal's better. If you're dealing with a remote and the TIU, absolutely.
No, I don't do anything with remotes. I just
Yeah.
do it all. The kids really like this.
Yeah.
They take it away from me.
Oh, no question.
And it's pretty good, but I'm losing signal. My layout is 150 feet long by 30 feet wide, 3 tracks, and I'm running passive. I was told to run passive.
Right.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah. The other thing too is you can run. You'll find on a layout that size, and I don't know how many feeders you have, and you run.
I got 10 feeders on each, 10 for power, 10 for signal.
Okay, and
5 each. I'm sorry.
okay, and you connected the 2 outer rails together because they're insulated, so your ground's on both sides, and you got to keep it. And that's where you use that track signal. You
Yeah.
drive it around and find, and I just did it on my little Christmas layout, and I found that some of the tabs on the bottom of the track weren't touching well, or we used to do it with blackening rails. I had one section that had a little black still on there, and you sand it off. You can find those sections and improve it, or find that section and run a feeder to that section.
That's what I've been trying to do. When I reach out to the far end, 150 feet, if a train derails, it doesn't see it. I cannot start it up. I have to bring the locomotive physically back
Yeah.
to fairly close to where I'm in. That's what I'm trying to eliminate.
Yeah, like I say, I'd find those areas and run another feeder out to that area and clean those tracks.
And you run too many feeders.
No, No, I tell you where you have a problem. You have sidings?
No, not with two sidings, yes.
Okay. Take on the ends of the sidings, on the end,
Yeah.
run a wire from there and put it to the beginning of the siding. Okay? So that's a loop. A digital signal does not like to hit and come back because they crash. And you'll have problems there of the digital signal crashing. Everything should be in a loop at the beginning and the end of any kind of dead siding that goes out on a straight loop track. Some people put little bump and go trolleys on there, or a regular track siding. Take wires, 3 wires on the end of the siding and bring them back to the beginning of the siding. So just that siding, that insulated siding, has a digital loop.
Yeah, I'm using 18 gauge cable on all my feeder, power and signal
Yeah.
coming back, and it seems to be working fine, except the long distance is what I'm hurting with. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing you may want to consider, I don't, as far as you take and insulate half your section and then use another channel of the TIU for the other side of the
I'm
section.
not running 2 TIUs.
Huh?
Does that make any sense? Mike Steve was talking about maybe I could use one of my other TIUs on it and split the.
Sure, that's what I'm saying. If you split the track and run even another channel of the TIUs as its own another fresh digital signal and use another channel for that other side. I don't know if how many of the channels you're using, but if you got 2 TIUs, you can readdress that. You have to change the address of the TIU so you're not cross-talking between the TIUs. So TIU1 and TIU2 and set the TIU up there. There's a lot, and there's also on the OGR forum, there's a DCS section, and there's great guys out there who are experts on figuring out those things, and you tell them your scenario and they'll ask you a bunch of questions, and then like I'm telling you now, but they're, you need to find where that problem is. If it's the distance, then maybe introduce another signal out there with the other TIU, change that, try that, but you'll get it. There's layouts like the New Jersey High Routers, which is a massive thing. Just huge, and they got it working perfectly all around the layout. It took them a while and a lot of back and forth to do it, but the system's capable of that. You just have to wire. Wiring is I've seen all kinds of different things as far as the wires go, but what you want to try to think about is a circle. So wherever you're introducing those if you got an insulated piece of track in your layout and you introduce the signal here, it's going to go to the insulated and come back. So the signal is going to travel and then come back, and anytime that crashes like that, you want to try to make it a loop.
Yeah. See, I don't have that. I have one continuous. All that. So.
Yeah.
I never lose control. It just
Yeah.
won't start.
Yeah. Find it.
And all the features are there everywhere on layout.
Well, check the signal too, and it could be a particular engine or
I
particular.
got 9 of them.
Okay, yeah. What I'm saying is, I've seen it before where the wheels get so clogged with what's picking up off the track that engine has a poor signal, but another engine has a good signal. So you might need to wire brush your wheels and clean those off. I'm just saying, I've seen so many different things. It could be a lot of things unless you analyze in each different scenario and work on trying to fix that.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, on the iPad or the thing. Yeah, you can't import it from the remote.
Okay.
But if you upgrade the remote, you still can keep your trains now the latest
So when I
version.
install the new WTIU, I'm still gonna have to reprogram all my trains.
Correct.
Back in the app, okay.
Yeah. No. If you already have it in the app with the old TIU, no.
Okay.
If you're coming from the remote to the
I
to
have
the
the
app,
app, right.
then you have to put them in there.
So how much power do you need to run like 5 trains with that TIU?
Well,
How many watts?
the TIU isn't the controlling thing. It's
So
really
you just got to live the track.
right. You could put. I could put 5 engines on here with 10 amps and run 5 engines.
Okay.
If I hook a lot of cars up to it and start pulling amps, it's really amps. And if you go over 10 amps, then you're going to pop the fuse in the thing. So
So it has an internal fuse.
So what you do is you take and use 2, and you insulate here and you insulate there, and you run 1 channel here, 1 channel here, and then you can run while 3 engines are over here and 2 engines over here. You can do it that way. So
I'm a little green at this. I bought a whole collection of an older man, and I've got about 25 different Mike's Train House engines and stuff, and I have no controls. They were sold separately, and I'm trying to grasp what you got going on here. I had all Lionel trains, and now I'm trying to converse on how to put it all together, and now this is a great thing.
Well, this is, all you do, 2 wires off the track here and run the transformer in here.
Okay.
And like I say, each one of these are independent.
Okay.
And you can, but when you're talking through the app, it doesn't matter which channel. It broadcasts that signal out throughout each one. When you add multiple TIUs, you can have 5 different TIUs, and then you're going to say for each different TIU, you have the engines added in each different one, and it'll send out the signal.
Right. And then the box that you're talking about over here is just mainly for your switches and your controllers.
Yeah, and it comes with a cable that plugs into here. It says AIU. You plug it in here on the input, the TIU input. You plug it into here, and then you got an AIU output, which you can daisy chain up to 5 of these, and then you're running your switches and your accessories, and
I
you wire them
have
up.
an old Lionel remote that I think that I would have to run one of these phone cords on.
No, not Lionel remote.
I have a Lionel one though too.
Okay, the Lionel has a command base in your remote.
Right. I have
Their
all
remote talks to their command base. All we're doing here is, if you're running it through the app, now you'll say it's a Lionel engine. It'll go out this USB through this cable to the Lionel box, and the Lionel box is actually still talking to what's proprietary in their system is between the box and the train.
Okay.
And they have a computer port. They put in a computer port on there so people could write software and run it with a computer. Well, all we did was, this is a computer, and we're talking through the computer access
That's
cable.
more or less a router, in other words.
Yeah, it routes it to the Lionel
Right.
system.
Yeah, because I was a Lionel guy, and I bought this whole Mike's Train House collection, and I just really started to mess with it. It's Pro 1s, Pro 2s, and Pro 3s.
Well, by the way, the parts and sales business has upgrade kits from ProtoSound 1 to ProtoSound 3. So you can get the upgrade kit and then have them all ProtoSound 3. You talk to them digitally. Or
Yeah.
the ProtoSound 1 are running as conventional engines, and then you'll run it with that.
Oh, so I can
variable.
upgrade all these engines pretty easily.
You can upgrade them. I'd get somebody who's been trained in it, like Steve's. They're trained in it, because if you hook up the wrong wire, you're going to blow out a coupler circuit or a light circuit or something. There's a lot of wires in
I understand
there.
circuit boards actually, but okay, yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
I'm not going to do it though.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm a mechanic.
Yeah,
really.
okay.
Yeah, I work on those things right there.
These.
Yeah.
Oh, I brought this because
I do work on the blue ones.
I got a new. We're making a new product, and you'll be able to see it. They're going to put it up. He's going to put it up online, but Steve will be advertising them shortly. We'll be coming out with a picture, but this will be an all-white trash truck with Trump Vance on the side and have a little Trump figure in here. And you'll be able to push down on the top of it, and it'll have Trump's voice coming out. How you like my garbage truck? So
These guys all carry guns.
Can we get that in pre-order now?
yeah, those will be popular.
The sound that I'm hearing here, it seems that way.
Wow. Is there I know you give us a lot of information. I've got an Explorer, like I said, I've got with the app, playing with that. Is there a master, other than the manual, that you get with this product?
Yeah, you can download it. Go
Right.
Take the product number,
Yeah.
put it on our website, and there's a whole manual that you can download the manual.
I've
for.
got that manual, already downloaded.
Okay.
Because
Yeah, but there's a new one for the WTIU.
Is there anything written? Is there a MTH Bible yet? You know what I'm saying, where someone has written something?
Not yet, because
Okay.
not for this. There is a book. A book.
I think
out.
there's a third edition that I think
Yeah,
Steve has. up
you
there.
have that, but for the WTIU, it's like I say, it's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Except it has the DC variable channels, and you'll be able to upgrade it the app via the
He
internet.
started me 3 years ago with your Explorer, and it's wonderful. I don't know anything else, and I have HO with
Well,
DCC.
you're going to
but-
get, with this versus the Explorer is it's limited to the bells and your whistle and your speeds,
absolutely.
but this will give you access to all those other features of recording and Doppler and be able to hook up then the accessories to it. And by the way, when you're at right now, you'll need to go into the settings. If you buy this, go into the settings and switch between the Explorer and this.
Yes,
Because
I saw that.
Right.
Yes.
So you'll need to go to
And your app now that you have updated is the 4.0, is that correct?
Yeah,
too?
4.0 version
4.0.
23 for Apple, and I think
Right.
build 57 for
Okay.
Android.
I've got that
and
set up.
In the back end of the app, there is a user manual area, and you can click that, and the manual for the WTIU is in the back end of the app that you
Okay.
can read. So you're on the app while you're doing it, and the manual's right there. It's really easy to read. And just follow the instructions.
Yeah.
Not everybody likes to, but it explains everything
Manual's
for you
good.
really well.
Looks like I need to buy a little adapter. I got the WTIU now.
Yeah.
Just got it a few minutes ago, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to switch that from the Explorer. I'm having a little bit of problems.
Yeah, yeah. The Explorer is made for a little 4x8, a starter set, and that's what we started.
I have a shelf train.
Right.
You know.
We wanted to get people involved with the app. You can run your. Look, when we do surveys, it's 80% of all of the people who run trains have a 4x8 or a smaller layout. So it's the majority of the marketplace. So the Explorer, we sell a lot of them. It's great. And I tell you, the other great thing about an Explorer is I have a train, trunk train, on my in my living room, and all I have to do with the Explorer is go on my app and start it up because I got a transformer hooked onto it, the Explorer hooked onto it, just for one train on piece track. You put it on your desk, you can put it, anywhere on your mantle or whatever, and just use the Explorer to digitally talk to it. It's a cheaper way to do it than via the TIU.
It's on my shelf train right now, 14 by 12 room, and it works. Works good. I've had little issues, but we're working on that. But I think I'll resolve it with this.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Anybody else?
I have one more question.
Yeah.
On